So welcome back to my channel. Happy New Year. This is my first video of 2023. So I wanted to share with you my wish list and my goals for this upcoming year. Like a lot of people, I do have some resolutions in mind. I have some goals. I like that feeling of a fresh start. I think that's why a lot of people like that mentality going into January 1st. Like, and of course I want to be realistic. I don't want to set myself up to fail, but I like Mondays, like, for that exact same reason. And like the morning, like the whole day is ahead of me. I haven't made any egregious errors yet. And of course, you know, it's good to like just stop and reevaluate the moment you realize you're making mistakes or whatever. Like, I know that's the big argument why people say they don't like resolutions, because like, well, if you want to improve on something, like, you should just start then. But it's just that feeling of a blank slate, and I really like that. So before I get into my goals for this year, some of the big ticket items, the things that I'm definitely going to be spending my money on. One is travel. I cannot afford to spend my money on bags and shoes and all that stuff like I have been over the last couple years if Ben and I are going to be doing all the traveling we want to do this year. We've already booked our first trip. It's to Scotland. We've actually never been out of the country together. I haven't been out of the country in 5 years. I mean, there's the pandemic and there's all this thing, and then traveling to see family, that has been a major priority for us. Some family members aren't doing too well, so we had to focus all of our vacation time on seeing them. But this year, we really want to go on more adventures together. A friend of mine, she lives in Alaska, but she's going to be moving at some point this year, so I really want to go over and see her while she's still there. I've never been to Alaska. I've only been to San Francisco on the West Coast, so I'd like to just go and see more. Like, I want to go to Oregon at some point and Washington State, all that. But I'm definitely prioritizing going to Alaska, maybe in June while she's still there. I've always wanted to go, but the ticket is really expensive from the East Coast. It's a long trip. I mean, I think it takes longer to get there from where I am on the East Coast than it would to take to Scotland. So what am I saying? But we've already booked our trip to Scotland. I am really excited for all that. We have a whiskey tour planned, and if we're gonna like eat all the things and go to all the places that we want to go to, I cannot spend money on bags the way I did previously. So prioritizing travel is number one. I think the second thing on my mind is my Pilates. That is quite an expense because I choose to go through a private instructor, but I do want to do more group classes just to round out my week. But I love ending Friday in that private instruction. I don't do it every single week, but it's definitely an indulgence that I don't want to give up. It just makes me feel so good and centered and strong. I really enjoy it, and I definitely recommend it if you've considered that. And the laser hair removal, I'm continuing. I did the underarms, it worked really well. I think I only have one more session before they estimate that I'll just be moving into maybe annual maintenance, like one treatment here and there, but I am finally going to do my face. I'm not embarrassed by this anymore. I'm not a child, and it's just something that happens, okay? Like, I get dark, coarse hair on my chin. I didn't really have it as a teenager. It wasn't until I was maybe like in my mid-20s. I mean, I always had hair on my face. I just do. I have dark, thick hair, so, you know, you can't really pick and choose always. So I've always had hair, but I noticed that in my mid-20s, I don't know if it was just a hormonal shift, and I wish I could encourage people to not be so embarrassed and stressed about this. Like, it's like sweat. It just is a part of being human. But I am going to get laser hair removal. I generally shave my face and pluck my face. It takes so long. But I am glad to not hopefully need to do that anymore. I have my first session this Thursday coming up. I just see a dermatologist. I wouldn't recommend going anywhere else if you can. I think the sessions, they're about $80 per, and they don't trap you into a contract. They do definitely use like very aggressive methods to get the best results. So I recommend checking that out. I know every office is going to have different pricings, but I had about 7 or 8 sessions for my underarms, and it's been well worth it. So those are the top 3 things on my list that are like not actually stuff. Now moving into the fun stuff for my wish list. I would really like to spend more money on jewelry this year. I got into it more last year where like even when I'm working from home, I'm wearing multiple pieces of jewelry. Like I have my necklace on, my earrings. I don't always wear my rings, but that's because I'm bouncing between working on a computer and doing chores around the house, like dishes and I don't know, rings, they get in the way. But I would like to spend more money on jewelry this year if I'm going to be spending money on any of that kind of stuff at all. And it's mostly because, well, I don't want to say mostly, how am I going to phrase this? Like, one, I really, really like jewelry. And two, it is actually way more affordable than luxury bags. Oh, and three, I think it can do way more for an outfit actually than the luxury community really gives it credit for. I don't know, that seems so weird to say luxury community, but you get what I mean. Like this space on YouTube where we like nice shiny things. I love my bags, of course, and I really enjoy that collection. I'm sure that I will get a bag this year, but I don't know what. I could see getting another Speedy B25. That is on like the lower end of luxury prices. It's still up there. I'm by no means saying it isn't, but it's way less than a Chanel bag. That I know I will not be buying. So let me think. Yeah, oh, back to what I was saying about jewelry. I have two pieces that are expected to arrive tomorrow. They are made in Israel. I'm really excited to unbox those, but since that'll probably be the next video, I won't say anything else, but I'm really excited. Let me see. I'm not sure what else. There's so many things, but I have a hard time anticipating what I'm gonna be liking. I had some general ideas, like the pearls were on my list, like the classics. Those are easy for me to imagine, but it's just a gut feeling. I absolutely shop with my heart. Like when I see something, I know it's the right thing. And sometimes I will plan something out in my head for weeks and weeks and weeks thinking I will want it, and then it just doesn't click. It doesn't feel right in the moment. And so hopefully, I mean, I think I've pretty much learned to walk away at that point. So I will be focusing more on jewelry this year over bags. Oh, and like the pearls, those were under $300, and I think they do so much for an outfit. They're really easy to style and wear, but that's way more affordable than any luxury bag. There are really only a couple more things on my wish list that I'm thinking about. I love Fendi and Bottega right now, and Loewe. Okay, I nearly forgot about Loewe, but it jumped into my mind the last second. I love the Elephant Loewe bags, and so I could see myself getting something from one of those places, maybe multiple, just depending on how much things end up individually being. Loewe kind of has, I don't want to say like better prices, but the things I like from Loewe, like the pocket bag, those are under $1,000. So I don't know, but those are the three brands that are most on my mind. If I could afford it after the other things I've named, I would really like to get another Peekaboo. It is my favorite bag, and if it could be an exotic, I think I would. I've really wanted a lizard Peekaboo for a while, and I don't think the made to order option is going to happen anymore for me. With raising their prices, they're now estimating a made to order Peekaboo will be $15,000 minimum. I mean, that is before you do all the other add-ons that you can with like the bejeweledness all over it. Like there's so much you can do with those bags, and it's very cool. But I mean, I don't even have a house yet. We have so much ahead of us. Sorry, when I say we, I mean Ben and I. Like, we've talked about when are we gonna have kids, where are we going to buy a house, and I just couldn't click away $15,000 right now at this point in my life. I mean, 12 was mind-boggling when last year they were estimating it was 12, but so now they're saying it's 15. I am so content. I don't need to buy that bag. I feel good. And the regular, like the baseline in-store lizard Peekaboos that are available, they're half that price. And so that jump, it's just not worth it to me. Like, to pick the exact color and have the experience, as magical as that is, it's just not worth doubling the baseline price. So that is my wish list for the year. I mentioned some goals. Here are a few things that I would really like to keep in mind as I move through the year. Just some spending limitations so that I guess I'm getting the most out of my money and like really enjoying things the way I want to enjoy them. So firstly, I do not want to buy a lot of clothes this year. I want to write down every single piece that I buy. So I have my notebook right in front of me. I really love this thing. It's just an inexpensive notebook that I got from Target. I really want to commit to writing down every single purchase, when I got it, how much it cost. I think it'll help me make a video at the end of the year because I think that would be fun for me and just allow me to budget better. I really do not, I have so many clothes. So one, I want to prioritize buying secondhand clothes. I love secondhand clothes. I really enjoy thrifting. I like mixing vintage and modern pieces. So I am thinking that I won't write down my thrifting so much. I mean, we're talking about less than $5 per item. I also, if I want to test out a style, I tend to get it secondhand. I clean the thing, I do minor mending if I can, and like, if it doesn't then work out for me, it's not so much a loss. Like I've definitely been influenced to buy some pieces of clothing that never ever got worn. And that was a big chunk of change. Like, I feel much more comfortable shopping secondhand now for clothes, knowing how my body weight fluctuates, my style changes, and it'll allow me to experiment. And then if it doesn't work out, I can just re-donate and someone else can have a play with it, you know? So that is something. Primarily shopping clothes secondhand. I would like to limit how much makeup I'm buying this year. I really enjoy just like using the same things over and over again. I know for some people like makeup is their thing, lipsticks, like I've definitely been in that mindset and I'm just not there right now. I like using the same things over and over again, and then like maybe just getting a handful of new things to try. So in terms of makeup, I want to try to buy fewer than 10 pieces of makeup. So when it comes time to restock my mascara, I'll have to do that. If I'm just limiting to what I absolutely like need, I will have to restock my mascara a couple times a year. I don't really wear foundation, so right now I have a little bit of the Glossier skin tint on and some blush. I really enjoy those, so I'll have to, it feels funny to say have to, and I'm like so obsessed with precise language that I don't like saying have to. You know what I mean. If I want to continue wearing the skin tint, I would have to buy a new tube, either because I run out or because it goes bad. But I think between that, like the brow product I use, I think that I can easily only buy 10 to at most 15 new pieces of makeup, either just like trying something new or replacing something I've always used. I think that is pretty much it for my like guidelines. Otherwise, I'm just gonna keep buying what I love, try to stick to my budget, and most importantly, write everything down. I have tried to keep a list, and that is how I very quickly realized that I was just buying way too much stuff. If I am buying so much stuff that I can't even be bothered to just write a quick note about it because like it was coming in so quickly, that's a little embarrassing to maybe admit, but like that is why I've stopped doing that in the past when I've started a year thinking I'm gonna write down every single purchase I make, and then it doesn't happen because I end up just purchasing way too quickly. I'm not gonna do that this year. I can't do that this year if I'm gonna travel the way I wanna travel and eat the things and do all that I really wanna do. So I'm going to maintain that list. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble on about my wish list. This has actually been a really hard video to film. Hopefully you won't know this after I edit it, but I'm actually at 29 minutes right now. I've had a really hard time like formulating my sentences, figuring out exactly how I want to say, what I want to say, and what I want. I don't know why, but I do often find these wish list videos really hard to film. So thank you so much if you made it this far and for hanging out with me. I would love to know what is at the top of your list. Do you have any resolutions? Have these impacted your wish list? What is the #1 thing that you would love to get yourself this year? But thank you so much for watching and Happy New Year. Bye.